Before we get to value versus growth and whether there's a shift in momentum, I have to ask you, Lori, if all of this trade talk is inhibiting risk appetite.
Well, I think, we've certainly had a couple of good steps now in the right direction. So I think, you're seeing the industrials act a little bit better. People are breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief there. But in general, I think the trade uncertainty is definitely weighing on markets. And that's been one of the most talked about issues in earnings calls so far.
Would you advise your clients to change anything just based on what we're seeing trade negotiation-wise?
In terms of today, no. I think you need to really sort of get clearer evidence that the pendulum is swinging all the way back in the other direction. We've had a couple head fakes that things were looking better on trade before. We really need to get a clear sense of really seeing some concrete results, I think, before you can breathe a true sigh of relief.
So as head of U.S. equity strategy right now at RBC, what is your base case scenario for where the market goes next?
So, we have 28.90 as our price target on the S&P for year end. We see very, very healthy earnings growth this year. That's coming through, but we also see multiple contraction. That's something that typically happens when the Fed's tightening. And so I think it's a tougher road for equities this year. I think the bull is limping, but I do think he's still moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall, Lori, we have heard from you. You were calling it already. You were saying it's time to get into value. Maybe the tech darlings are now out of favor. I'm looking at a chart that's showing how we're already seeing the money coming out of the higher momentum stocks, and it really is starting to move into the likes of Vanguard's value ETF. Will that momentum continue, or is there now starting to prove a bit of a buying opportunity?
Well, so look, I think that the conditions for this shift of growth back to value have been in place for quite some time. I think all we were really lacking was the spark and the catalyst. And I think this earnings reporting season, you've seen a lot of these high-flying popular growth stocks stumble. They were priced for perfection. Perfection was elusive, and they got punished. So that may end up being the catalyst for this shift back into value.